Awesome. I think we got Rich up here as well. Rich, you want to give a quick intro yourself and Ready Player DAO?
Yo, thanks for having me. Was stuck in the audience for a bit there. Ready Player Rich. I'm one of the co-founders of Ready Player DAO, which is a Web3 gaming uh, DAO focused on content marketing, building community, and helping advise and invest to Web3 games. But our main focus is content marketing and getting the Web3 gaming space to the eyes of the masses.
The gaming DAO, not a gaming DAO, the gaming DAO. No,
That's
we're
right.
super excited to be partnering with you guys. You guys are AVAX OGs, and we're also excited to welcome MetaOps to the AVAX family. And super excited to talk about gaming and content creation with y'all today. So let's kind of jump in. Rich, can you give us a quick overview, or maybe Jay, can you give us a quick overview of the Content Creator Bounty Program? Like, what is this, and why did you guys create it?
Yeah, I can jump in there and then I'll let Jay add some more if I miss anything. But the idea is there's like looking around the space, so many great up and coming Web3 gaming creators and also great gaming creators that have been making content for a while. And there's so many great games being developed. And from what we've seen, it's like these games are having trouble finding creators. Creators are having trouble finding right games. It's hard to find exposure. Like Twitter's so busy, and there's so many discords to keep track of. So we wanted to be that one-stop shop for both creators and gaming projects to check in and find each other, right? And with that, we want to make sure that these creators are getting paid, um, and that's why we came up with the bounty program. So the idea is to allow creators to find games, games to find creators, and creators to be able to create content and get paid for it. And then past that, we want to facilitate any longer term relationships that are being built out. So if there's a creator that really loves the game that we set up a bounty for, we plan to give them all information that they need to get signed up on that project's creator program that they may have internally.
Tell me a bit more. So you've got this creator bounty program that's connecting content creators and games. Is this for the Bryce and Jonah Blakes and tier one creators of the world? Is it for people like me and Coop who've got no following but we love games? Like who could participate?
It's for everybody, right? So everybody has the ability to get in there and create content. Whether you have just started your content journey or you've been doing it for 5 years, so it doesn't matter. The idea is to get in there, help you get exposure, help you get introduced to different games, and get some support while you're doing it. Because we know the toughest part of doing content creation is getting started. So being able to support you in that way is what we're looking for. But I'll let Josh, as the creator himself, jump in there and add some color.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so the creator program is meant to be like the bridge between games and those creators. Our tagline for the creator program and our whole creator network is your content, your network, your money. So it's giving power to the content creators and power back to the players, which is what Ready Player DAO, is all about, is giving power to those players.
That sounds awesome. Like Coop and I play games all the time, and we're definitely not getting paid for it. So this might be a new side hustle for us. And tell me how are people getting paid? Is it on chain? Are we getting paid in dollars? Getting paid in Trident gum strips? How does this all work?
Everything's fully on chain. So the gaming projects will fund the loot bolt bot or the Discord bot that we're using to hand out and manage the bounties with whatever ERC20 token. It's generally going to be a dollar equivalent that we'll announce of tokens, but it would always be an ERC20. And then the way it works is we'll have, depending on the size of the bounty, a certain amount of people that get approved as winning those bounties. We like to have a minimum of nine, and then uh, there will be a community vote on the like community's favorite piece of content, and then they will get a double payout. So let's say it's $1,000 bounty. 9 people split the bounty evenly, and then one of those 9 people get voted on as the best content for that bounty, and they get 200 instead of 100.
That's amazing. So you're earning on-chain rewards. The whole program is on-chain. I love it. MetaOps team, and by the way, Coop, I'm not ignoring you, but I want to make sure the MetaOps team gets to speak. MetaOps on the gaming side, as game developers and as a team trying to grow your game, why is this important? Why is this something you guys are working on?
Yeah, so it's extremely important, right? Content makes up 100, well, not 100%, but about 80% of all revenue that's generated for most brands. When it comes to games in particular, it's even more important, right? The more people that are creating content on your product, your service, or whatnot, it's going to just boost exposure. It's going to provide you with additional marketing resources, and it's going to allow for other people to show the narrative of your game in a way that is beneficial to multiple people, right? Because we can push one narrative like, hey, our game is super fun, it's enjoyable, but there's nothing better than hearing it from a person who's legitimately creating content around the game itself. So whenever you have somebody that's passionate, wants to hop out there, create content, it just makes it significantly easier and better, right? Because then we don't have to spend our time creating that content. We have somebody that's passionate about the game, creating the content, and then we can utilize all of those amazing resources to push it further than it could have gone if we just did it ourselves.
Yeah, that's
And speaking of those, oh, sorry, Jacob, you
yeah,
go.
I'm just gonna add on top of that just a little bit. So from a business development aspect of this as well, from our side, we do have a content and streamer program that we did start running, right? But for us as game developers with a sole focus, majority on the game development itself and developing software development kits that make it easier for other developers, it's great to have a partner and to kind of be collaborating with people like ReadyPlayerDAO because of the fact that that is their sole mission and focus, and it allows us to focus on what we need to focus on and have that support from a great partner. So just wanted to throw that on top of there as well.
Rich, I see you got your hand up.
Yeah, I wanted to point out 2 more things that aren't as thought about when we talk to different teams because, like the MetaOps team, most games have their own content creator program, right? But most of the people that know about the content creator program are people that are already in their Discord and already aware of their game and already have been marketed to. So part of what we see the value in the bounty program is you'll be able to try to reach and find a new audience outside of your existing one. And ideally, as we continue to bolster it and add more creators, which I think we've only announced it a week ago, and we already have 50 creators that have signed up in that week. But as we continue to grow that creator network, we're also going to be able to reach new audiences, not only within the Web3 space, but outside of it as well. And then that obviously would segue into the rest of our content marketing tools that we have and the connections that we've made with, example, TikTok gaming, YouTube gaming, Facebook gaming, most of the larger like traditional content creator agencies, et cetera, et cetera. So beyond just the bounty program, we can also make sure that we can help you find and target the audience that you want to market your game to, that exists primarily probably outside of Web3. And that's one of the things that we want to take that pressure and that workload off of the game project so they can focus on building their games and their messaging, and we can focus on marketing it for them.
I love that. It definitely sounds win-win. But what about the third party that's typically involved in this transaction? Cooper, I'm going to throw it to you as a content creator. How do you feel about this arrangement, this tech that ReadyPlayerDAO
That
is
is
bringing to market?
exactly what I was thinking about. And I don't know if you guys saw this. SatStart recently put out a poll of like, have you worked in Web3 and did you get paid for it? How did that go? And the results were horrendous. Like people are getting stiffed by projects all the time. And, it's been a growing new industry. And I feel like the trust there for getting paid as a creator is just not great. And so having something that is the trusted sort of process and system that's a lot of it's on chain changes the game, and it's so helpful that like ReadyPlayerDAO can build up some power so that they're not getting stiffed by games, they're ensuring this smooth experience for everyone in the involved. So I think it makes me feel more comfortable trying it, right? Like I'm not worried about getting a bad experience trying to work with the project when I can trust somebody in between. That's my thought.
Yeah, super true. I feel like it's not just in Web3, but in the creator economy in general. There's a lot of like these under the table deals. It's really hard to enforce payments. It's really hard to enforce content getting created once a payment is out there. And I feel like what we're doing here with Ready Player DAO, kind of powered by Loophole, is really
Yeah,
solving that problem.
immediately, like Rich, when you were just talking, I was like, I need this for other things. I need this for like creators of all types, for any content I want. So it's definitely you're on the right edge of the industry.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know, Coop is a full-time content creator. He's got an Instagram where he promotes stuff like apparel and beauty products. So if you haven't followed him, make sure you're following him. Support this man's livelihood. Let's kind of take this a bit more conceptual. Let's talk a little bit about like projects in Web3 or Web2 even, and content. Is anyone up here kind of following some Web3 or Web2 games that you guys think are doing streamer content really well?
Yeah, so I mean, I can definitely kind of touch on that subject a little bit. I think there's a couple topics in that question. The first one is being the development of these games right now, right? A lot of these are in, for example, like us closed alpha with gated access. A lot are still, beta maybe, but it's really hard to find a fully built out game that can allow content creators to really thrive. So it's kind of growing all together, I guess I would say. One project that really does it well, I have to give a shout out to EV.io. They're a browser-based shooter game. They're amazing. They're definitely a really, really strong contender when it comes to creating content, mostly because of the ease of access to the game. The onboarding process is simple. And again, it is browser, so pretty much anybody can play it. Those are the kind of games that I'm seeing right now that are popping off, are those the games that are really onboarding people. So again, it kind of goes hand in hand with the scaling of the player base itself and the content that's produced from it. There are a lot of really beautiful games that I'm excited to see finish development. And I'm not going to pick favorites or anything too much up here today, but there are some really, really strong contenders. Even games like Star Atlas that have been in development raised, millions and millions of dollars. People are really looking forward to those titles coming out, and those content creators are just sitting there waiting for that opportunity. But that's all I got for this.
Yeah, that's awesome. EV.io isn't something that I've been following, but I'll be sure to definitely check it out. Let's turn up the spice level a bit on the spaces. So I want to ask the MetaOps team again, as a game developer. I think that game developers and influencers have this kind of tense relationship, right? In a lot of ways in Web3, you've got concentration of power, platform following against a few key players in the space. So tell me how you guys think about approaching these macro influencers. Should game developers be paying them? Are they important to our ecosystem?
Yeah, so my take on this is you got to do what fits best for your company. Obviously, if you're not at a develop or a stage of development or revenue growth to where you can pay consistently, finding alternative ways to reward them, such as giving out merchandise, giving out NFT items, giving them the ability to just earn something in general is always beneficial, right? The micro and macro influencer is super important for every company, and every type of influencer, nano, micro, and macro, have their importance when it comes to growing. So my take on this is always try and find a way to give them additional options to earn something so that they will continue to create on, your game, produce for your company, because at the end of the day, without content, your brand's not going to be seen by more people. I mean, if you think about a regular advertisement that you have to push out and promote across Facebook, Google, and other things, you're going to need some form of content created. If that's done by yourself or by somebody else, I would just say to take the cost into account and then reward people based off of that, right? So that's at least my take. And I know we look to reward people consistently. Obviously, if we can't reward in monetary value, we try and find an additional way to do so, such as consistently shouting them out, giving them more exposure opportunities, and giving them new things that they could, up their exposure with.
Yeah, no, that was said extremely well.
Jacob, what's your take?
Yeah, I mean, for me personally, again, it's going to continue to go back to the development stage of a lot of these titles. Like for us right now, it wouldn't even be worth the cost associated with trying to pay, for example, a KOL, right? For example, $25,000. I mean, some of these guys are charging insane amounts of cash just to do a review on your game for like 2 minutes, right? For me, I would rather have 100 micro content creators than one huge, massive content creator trying to charge me an arm and a leg. So again, right now for us, the focus is on building out and kind of incubating content creators within our ecosystem as opposed to reaching out to these huge KOLs.
Yeah, I hear that. Go for it, Rich.
No, I was going to say, actually, the data supports that as well. If you find on TikTok, and we've spent the past year just talking to as many marketing professionals and agencies that do short form content and trend-based content. One, that's how you set trends on like shorts and TikTok and run the algorithm when you have 100 or however many smaller creators talking about something versus just one, right? And number two is they've ran the data, and these like mid to micro influencers sitting around on like TikTok and Instagram and YouTube Shorts, sitting like near the 50,000 down to like 10,000 follower range, actually end up being more effective because they feel like they aren't too large to connect with their audience. And with like those metrics, it just makes a lot more sense to have the money go as far as possible if you have a smaller budget. While the larger creators obviously are still very, very trusted, I think there's also an understanding that most of them are getting paid and are shilling some content when it falls outside of their normal type of content as well, right? So that's the other thing that we want to make sure is like, all right, if this game wants to make this promotion and with these content creators, it also needs to kind of make sense with the type of content that they're doing and feel natural, which is why we don't go to our creators in our bounty program and say, here's the script, go out and do this, right? We say, here's a game, here's the details about that game, go do content how you know how to do content, because that's the most natural.
And let's kind of bring this back to the bounty program. So for some of these smaller content creators, like what kind of bounties or what size bounties can they expect for participating and playing games for projects?
Yeah, so we're leaving that majority up to how the projects want to divvy it up. But for MetaOps, we're doing, like I mentioned earlier, 100 per person that gets approved for the share of the bounty, and that's $1,000 bounty. So 9 people get 100, and then the person that gets voted as the top content for the bounty gets 200. We're going to set a minimum of like $50 per person. So if there's a project that comes in and wants to say, okay, I only have 2,500, but I want to just hit every single creator in the bounty program, so $50 is what we want to do, then that's as low as we'll let them go. But ideally, we try to recommend at least 50 to 100, just to make it more sense. And then as we continue to grow out the bounty program, because we haven't even officially announced it, we're just getting started with it. We're gonna figure out what number makes the most sense to get engagement, and then what the metrics look like on reach and the amount of creators that we can amplify with, and then be able to present those metrics with partners in the future. And hopefully with any future bounties that we do with MetaOps as well.
You talked a bit about this approval process, and I know we got a bunch of people here listening who are probably thinking about, hey, I play games, I can play MetaOps, I can make some money. What does that approval process look like? Do people need to go through content review? Is it for people with specific, presence on platforms? How do people get involved?
Yeah, Josh, you want to jump in on that?
Sure. Yeah. We typically go through each of the applicants manually. So we're not looking for any set things. Well, the first thing that you're going to have is some kind of video content that you've created in the past. Whether it's a live stream, a video, anything like that, anything that you've put on that you can actually say that you've made in a video form, that would qualify you to become, a content creator. But we're not asking anybody to dance in front of a camera. All you have to do is make some good quality content, and we kind of go through that and see who's actually serious about making content for these games and can participate in these bounties.
Yeah, and the only reason that we have this approval process is because it's Web3 and people are always trying to, dip in where they can, right? So we want to avoid any kind of bots or the bounty program being taken advantage of in a way where real creators are not able to benefit from it because it's just overdone by bots and other creators, right? So the idea is not to say, oh, you're a good creator, you're a bad creator. The idea is to say, okay, you're actually committed to creating content and you're passionate about this and your content is legit. You're not like deleting it after the bounty. You're not like throwing something up randomly just to apply to the bounty. You're actually like the games that we're playing and like what you're doing here and are passionate about this. So it's more about making sure someone's legitimate than it is about gating somebody else out.
Got it. I hear you. We got to prevent those bots. Let's sort it over to the other side of the table. The MetaOps team, when you guys are picking up, influencers and content creators, what are you guys looking for? What tips do you have for the people on the spaces who might be thinking about becoming amateur content creators?
Yeah, the main thing I'm personally looking for is somebody that's passionate, that enjoys playing games, and wants to further the space, like the blockchain gaming space as a whole. For example, one of the major people that comes to my mind is Jinkrin. He's down in the audience below. He showed up in our game nights. He put in the work. He started streaming our game. And from that, he came up as a speaker. It's great. So yeah, basically from that point, he just went on to produce content for us and continue streaming. He showed up and he was just dedicated, right? So somebody that genuinely loves to play our game is somebody that we would love to have as a content creator if that's something they're interested in, right? If they're interested in producing content, streaming, and all of that good stuff, we want to give them as many vehicles, opportunities, and all of that stuff to gain exposure. Because like Jacob said, we like incubating people from our community and allowing for them to grow into these massive content creators with our assistance if possible, right? So that's what we really look for, is just somebody that's passionate, gonna put in the work themselves, and then we can follow on and help support them and push them further in their journey.
So, Jinky, I know you want to probably speak on this topic because you're amazing like that. But really quick beforehand, I just want to relay my support to these smaller content creators, especially in our own community. For us, it's extremely important and integral to our development process. We don't just look for content creators who blow smoke up our ass. Sorry, excuse my language there. But we look for content creators who are honest about, certain mechanics of the game, things that we can improve on, because that's how we get that feedback. In our Discord, we have a support ticket system that allows a lot of people to submit, certain tickets around, bugs and stuff like that. But it's that content that we see visually where we can really take hold of an issue or, something that is really hindering the player's experience. So we really do appreciate all the content creators.
Jinker, let's get you talking about your journey. Can you maybe give us a quick intro on who you are and what you do?
What's up, everybody? I'm Jim Kieran. I'm now a Web3 content creator. I came from the Web2 space. Used to be big on Mixer for horror games, but anybody that follows streaming knows Mixer shut down because Microsoft rugged everybody. So now I'm starting over on Twitch with Web3 and supporting a lot of games out here. So I like to get in on the discussions.
Do you want to? I'm going to ask you a series of kind of spicy questions, right? As a content creator, specifically in gaming, the question on everyone's mind is how much money do you make as a content creator? How much money should someone expect to make as a content creator?
So this is actually something I did want to come up here and speak about because we are talking about money and paying creators and stuff like that. One thing that I would recommend is talk to the creators you're looking at picking up and find out their situations. Currently, I make nothing off of streaming outside of whatever projects may give me as kind of a kickback, right? Like, hey, you try out our game, we'll throw you an NFT, something like that. That's because I choose to go that route. I have a full 9 to 5 job that pays me pretty well. So I don't need the additional income and I want to help these projects. So I don't mind, volunteering my time to help them out. I don't have this dire need to make profit off of Web3. So that's kind of why I say talk to the creators, find out their situation, because I've helped out various projects, MetaOps being a big one. Now I'm working with Metalcore a little bit, just to name a couple. I'm not trying to show, but I I honestly just really believe in the Web3 space. That's why I want to push more and more games. I've kind of taken a hiatus the last few months because obviously market's down bad, holidays. I also had some health issues come up, but I'm about to turn around full swing because I showed up for MetaOps Community Night this week and I felt embarrassed. As a MetaOps content creator, I should never have one person in my lobby. I need to do better so we get more people in these lobbies, you know? But honestly, and if you're looking to go full time, content itself isn't where you're going to make the money. I did the math. I would need over like 4,000 subscriptions on Twitch to cover my current pay rate. That is pretty insane when you think about it. That's like, what? 4,000 times $5 subs, you're looking at like 20K worth of income just to make 4,000 on my end because of how much Twitch takes. And then of course taxes and everything else. So you want to look outward. You want to try to get merchandising. You want to try to get your branding down. You want to work with these companies so they promote your merchandise, they promote your branding, and that's where your money is going to come from. So if you're looking to make money off of subscriptions and you want to go full time, you're kind of setting yourself up for failure. You really, really want to build your brand, and that's where the money comes from, is your brand.
Talk a little more about that. So what does it mean to build your brand? And if you're a content creator, maybe a new content creator, or a moderately sized content creator, how are you monetizing your brand?
So me personally, again, my situation's a little different. So I'm not currently monetizing. However, good examples, merchandise. So t-shirts, hats. Good example is Ninja. He made a book, right? And people bought that book up because everybody wants to be a pro gamer or whatever. So it's small things. You don't have to go crazy and like try to start your own business and sell $1,000 computers for profit. It's the small things that count. So MetaOps. I just dropped like what, $200 on merch in the last couple of months. It's things like that. You have to kind of look at content creation as a business. Once you figure out how businesses make money, you apply it to content, and you'll realize a lot of businesses, they make money off of the product, sure, but it's not just the product. You can't just put out a product and call it good, right? There's marketing involved. There's word of mouth, getting friends involved. And one of the big things that I tell people, word of mouth. Word of mouth is so huge. If your content is so good and people really like you, they're going to tell your friends or their friends, and then their friends are going to show up. They're going to love it. They're going to tell their friends, and it's going to grow and snowball. And in Web3, that is 100% holding true, at least in my personal experience, because I started with just EVIO. Then I started with MetaOps. And then after MetaOps, it was a landslide because Jacob and Noah and all them always talking about my name. Now every game is like, hey, Jim Kieran, you want to come check out my game? You want to come check out my game? And it's like, I never expected this. So don't underestimate networking. That is a big key to building a brand.
I love that. Let me ask a question to either the Ready Player DAO folks or the MetaOps folks. So as we all know, we're on Twitter, and if any of you guys have been involved in a project, you have probably gotten those potentially botted, potentially real people spammed in Discord of people offering their marketing and streaming services. What's your take on that? Should we be engaging those people?
I'll go ahead and start off the rip. I personally do not engage those people because I have an extensive background in marketing, branding, building communities, and everything of that sort. Most people that basically approach you and reach out to promote your services, you can check and see the legit followers, the fake followers, how much exposure they actually receive, and all of that good information. And just do your due diligence, right? So some of the people that reach out, they can be legit, they can be reputable, but 9 times out of 10, they're not so reputable, and you'd be better off finding somebody that actually can produce results for you, or in some cases, for some games who don't have marketing people, learning it yourself. Information is readily available all over the internet, and you can hop on, figure out how to grow a brand. Obviously, you may not have as much experience as somebody else, but you can always learn something new, right? And me, I don't fancy the idea of bringing them on just because we've gotten great exposure just from what we've been doing, and I have plenty of different ways of doing that. But yeah, I think they're needed because, for example, like ReadyPlayerDAO, they have an extensive marketing side to their company as well, and they look to push you and connect you with other people within the space that they've already made connections with, especially on the gaming side. So it allows, if they're reputable, it allows for you to get that exposure. But if they're not, I say stay away.
Where Jacob, I see your hand up.
Yeah, so just to again just add a little on top of that, for me personally, I mean, my background, I've been this space has been my bread and butter for about 3 years now. I started by obviously, joining on marketing teams for like Binance Smart Chain tokens back during the Binance Smart Chain Gold Rush days, and then went on to create white labelable NFT marketplaces. The reason I mentioned that is because that was myself offering a service to somebody similar to a content creator offering their service to somebody. What I got from that experience was if you're reaching out to somebody, forcing your service on them, they're most likely not going to respond because you're just one of thousands of people reaching out. Now, if you take the initiative and make some content or make a mock-up or make some design for somebody or something like that and post that somewhere and tag them and showcase your content before you reach out, you'll have 100% better chance of getting their attention. So with that being said, I would recommend not just trying to shill yourself in the DMs. They're never going to see that, but actually take the initiative and do something first.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, I don't want to speak for Parker or for Rich on sort of why this partnership is important to them, but for me also as a marketer, I think one of the things this space needs, and one of the things the devs in this space need, are more legitimate marketing options. Like, I feel like a lot of projects have been kind of held mercenary by shills, by these sort of marketing service agencies of dubious legitimacy. And what's most important to me about what you guys are doing and pioneering with the Ready Player DAO team is sort of showing other game devs that there are better options, right? Like, if we're going to put money into marketing, we might as well put it into the hands of our gamers, right? Into our community, instead of paying it out to, people who don't really care about the project and are just here to make a quick buck on their platform. Rich, I see your hand up.
Yeah, I wanted to touch upon some of the marketing services and botting that we've seen in the days of the bull, right? Like, it's different for, I think, selling an NFT or selling a token than it is for selling a game, because games need DAU. You need constant player base. You need people to get in there. Building out that ecosystem and providing player liquidity essentially for other players, especially if it's a PvP game and not a standalone single player game. So a lot of these botting services that did really well in the ICO, IDO, and NFT launch days was mostly because people were just looking to see what the next top project was, and anything that had lots of engagement was probably going to have them dive into it. So those DeFi and token botting marketing services that people used to use, and that's pretty rampant in the crypto space, will not work for games. Might work for selling the token of the game, might work for selling a few NFTs, but when it comes to actually playing the game, these bots aren't going to actually engage and play the game and provide a player base. So that's why you need something different, and you actually need real humans to be marketed to.
Jim Kieran, what's your take?
I was just going to say, on top of content creators, don't underestimate or sleep on Facebook advertising. It does combat a lot of the botting problems that Rich is currently talking about, because I would never recommend Twitter advertising for that very reason. But Facebook has a lot more requirements, and they actually require you, like if you get reported as a bot, you actually have to show your government issued ID to even keep your account. So there's a lot more protections there. Not to mention, I personally have found multiple Web3 gaming projects through Facebook ads, because they don't just play on your pages, they're also playing on reels and shorts and all this other stuff. So that's just one thing I wanted to point out in terms of advertising. We talk about how we want a safe tool. That feels like one of the safer and better tools to utilize outside of content creators.
No, I see your hand up too.
Yeah, so I just kind of wanted to caveat off of what Rich was saying. So, like, when it comes to one, growing a community, you typically see the best communities are grown from like a slow, methodical approach, right? I mean, this one was proven by like Mr. Beast. Whenever he recognized that like the YouTube rewind was going away, he went and created his own video, and he's basically promoted 3 top creators at that time. And what you saw was those creators gained a lot of followers, and a year later their view count dropped, their followers fell off, and a lot of the people are now making not worse content, but making or receiving less views than what they had before, right? And that's because the approach they took, or well, not them, but that he kind of forced upon them, was a fast approach to growth rather than slowly acquiring those users one by one. And this goes with most games and what you see within the crypto space as of right now, right? You see a lot of engagement farming, which leads to people just flocking into these projects and hopping on, which at the end of the day is it basically provides the opposite approach than what you need, right? If it's slow and methodical and you get people coming in slowly but surely, they're more likely to stay because most of the time they feel like they're a part of the journey, right? So that's just something I wanted to add on. And then to like kind of caveat off of what Jinkrin was saying, Facebook advertisements is amazing. I wouldn't completely throw Twitter at the hatch, because games like Valorant and other big games do primarily focus on advertisements and all that good stuff via Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and all those good places. But most of their traffic does come from Twitter, which they mainly push an organic approach with their tweets. But I just wanted to throw that out there, that Facebook is amazing, but never sleep on the other platforms as well, because retargeting across each place allows for your brand to be seen multiple times. And if your brand's seen multiple times, it helps with brand recognition. And brand recognition helps with acquiring users. And then acquiring users obviously helps with more revenue.
You were so close to making it all rhyme, Noah. It was user acquisition.
I tried.
You were so
I
close.
tried.
It was pretty eloquent. Sorry, Rich, cut you off. I just want to jump in. I know we're kind of approaching the top of the hour, but I think with regards to what MetaOps is doing, what ReadyPlayerDAO is doing with the bounty program, it seems like we should kind of have a conversation real quick about like the tournament that we're running through MetaOps. Like, I want to stir up some excitement around like the community gaming. Like, we have on Avalanche like a community centered tournament being hosted through MetaOps. I just wanted to hear, Noah, maybe you can touch on this if you wanted to give any details, maybe stir up some hype and excitement. Wanted to kind of end on that note because I think it's an exciting point that we should drive home on.
Absolutely. Yeah. So to speak on the tournaments, we have 2 amazing tournaments brought to you by Avalanche, the amazing guys over at Avalanche, right? One is starting tomorrow at, if I'm not mistaken, I think it's 7 a.m. CST, which is our Singapore server tournament. If you are from the Asia regions, we highly recommend you apply for the Singapore tournament, because we try to keep it regulated to a certain level of ping and allow for people to be facing each other without lag, without anything of that sort. So it keeps it a little more fair. There's a total of 64 spots available. They're 2v2 tournaments. We have one, like I said, tomorrow, and then we have an additional one on Saturday, the 21st, which will be our US server tournament. Again, brought to you by the amazing guys over at Avalanche. And, you know, it's another 2v2 tournament. Please feel free to hop over to Bluemint. I'll pin up something here soon so you can just hop right over and sign up for the tournament if you would like. But each of them have a $500 prize pool tournament or prize pool for the tournament itself, which will be dispersed over the top winners. More information on the prize pool will be released later today as well. We have another video coming out to build up some more hype around the tournament itself. I know that Garrison and Coop, oh my goodness, are signing up for the actual tournament itself, and they're most likely going to take
winning the tournament.
Oh yeah, exactly. You're going to take home the win. Me, if I did it, I mean, you guys saw the live stream over on the AVAX gaming page, I'd get destroyed. I'm not that good. But if you're a competitive player and you like to challenge the best players, I would say, in the world, this is definitely the tournament for you because we have a very competitive landscape at MetaOps, and the only way to put it to the test is in an actual tournament.
So just to hammer that home, right? The tournament is free to play, 2 $500 prize pools. We're going to be bringing you prize pool tournaments all throughout this year in partnership with MetaOps, and I also see the Bluemint crowd in the spaces as well. So thank you guys for hosting. If you haven't checked this out. There's a bunch of posts that are coming out from Gaming on AVAX, from Bluemint, from the MetaOps team. So make sure you click over to Bluemint and register your team. It's 2v2 tomorrow and Saturday. If you play in the NA one, I feel bad for you. Cooper and I are going to clean up, but we will see you on the map. With 1 minute left, I want to throw it back to the ReadyPlayerDAO team. For all the people who've been listening to this and thinking about starting their content creator journey, where should they go to join your program?
Yeah, jump in our Discord. We have a Creator Hub channel there with all the information that's pinned. And you can always just jump in if you're still trying to find it in our community chat channel, and we can point you that way. But we are updating our website to include all the information as well, which should be done next week. But yeah, just join the Discord and we'll point you in the right direction.
Amazing. All right, Jacob, take us home.
Awesome. First and foremost, again, thank you guys for hosting the space. It has been fantastic. Even through the Elon Rugg situation, we made it and we got to talk about everything we wanted to talk about. I want to drive a couple points home, not only about the tournament, but you, sir, just dropped some big ol' alpha that I think some people may have skimmed over. If you didn't hear what he said, Avalanche will be sponsoring tournaments consistently throughout 2023. Not Q1, not Q2, but the entire year. So there's going to be a lot more tournaments to participate in. This first one will be a great kind of introduction into our game, into the mechanics. I do want to let everybody know there's not really aim assist. So if you really went and watched that video that Noah was discussing earlier, he was trying to snipe some people. Noah, maybe we should just put the sniper down. But there isn't this extraordinary aim assist, so it is extremely skill based. So really, I mean, that it could turn into somebody brand new winning out the entire tournament against somebody like T-Pro down in the crowd who's won like 6 of these things. So we need some new kings in the MetaOps ecosystem, and we need you guys to challenge some of the old school pros that have been around for like a year. With that being said, again, appreciate you guys letting us come up and speak. Really quick announcement, we are dropping our new light paper next week. Definitely be on the lookout for that. Turn notifications on, as well as dropping more information about the entire year of sponsorship from Avalanche.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jacob. Thank you so much, MetaOps team. Thank you, Rich, Jay, and everyone else who joined. Jinker and you too. Coop, thank you for coming up for a little bit. Parker, thank you for making this all happen. Before I let you guys go, there's a link up posted here from MetaOps. This is a really great opportunity to join the bounty program. Try to claim that bounty that they've got offered. I think it's $100 for content creators, $200 for the best piece of content, and maybe you can double dip a little bit. Maybe you make some content, maybe you win the 2v2 tournament. I don't know about you, but Coop and I are going to enter both also, so we'll see you there. Thanks for joining, everyone.